welcome once again to reallylearnguitar.com, and this is Jeff's Tip of the Week. Today we're going to be talking about something very subtle, and what it was what I just played. It's called Pivot Chords, and this is a fairly complex concept, which is actually taught in our course, not the pivot chord, but the idea of what we're talking about. And you'll know what to do with this based off of what you learned from the DVD or download course. So here we go. What a pivot chord is when you take a like chord from different keys and just switch from one key to the other based off of the chord. So we're going to be talking for just a second here on the board in the background and see what's really going on. Okay, so you'll see here that we have two keys. The first one being the key of C and the second one being the key of D. So the key of C has these chords in it: C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, and B diminished. And the key of D has the chords D, E minor, F sharp minor, G, A, B minor, and C sharp diminished. Okay, so what I did is I created a chord progression, and we talk about that in the course, of how I created a progression from the key of C, which was C major to A minor to E minor to G. And then what I did is I used the G chord as a pivot. Now you'll notice in the key of D, there's a G in the key of D and there's a G in the key of C. So that's what the pivot chord is. I could have also pivoted on, for instance, in E minor. Okay, but those are the only two notes that they share in common, the G major and the E minor chord. So once again, my progression was C major, A minor, E minor, G, and I pivoted to the chord progression once I got to the key of D, B minor, D major, A major, G major. And I put the G major last so that I could pivot right back to the key of C and play my first chord progression again. Okay? This is a fairly simple concept, as you can see, but having a good knowledge of keys is when it actually becomes useful. Okay, so you see that this is a fairly simple concept. Really, the most important thing to the pivot chord is when you get to the new key to use chords that aren't in the key that you were just in, because then what's the point? So, in a nutshell, you pivot on a like chord from one key to the next, and you could really, if you wanted to be crazy and you had a huge concept of what keys are, you could pivot from one key to another key to another key to another key until your heart's content. So, spend a little time with this, look in the keys, and hopefully this will bring you some enjoyment in your playing. Last but not least, some people who use this widely were like the Eagles, the Beatles. Almost every classical composer used this at some point or another. So it's a really old concept. So once again, enjoy and have a good time.